This episode of the Stuyvesant podcast is sponsored by Crimson Education. Are you a Stuyvesant student or parent who aspires to stand out in high school and study at top universities? Do you want access to the best mentors, strategists, and admissions experts to help forge your path to your dream university? With Crimson Education, you get strategic admissions support, essay guidance and editing, and leadership mentoring to help you discover your passions, to develop lifelong skills, and build a strong high school profile. Crimson students are 3 times as more likely to get into their dream schools than those applying alone. Crimson gives you the best resources and technology-driven tools to guide your dream university acceptance. Visit crimsoneducation.org or watch one of their videos at youtube.com/crimsoneducation. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Stuyvesant podcast. I'm Aaron, and I'm joined here by
John.
I'm Shayon.
Today, our guest is
Adrian.
Adrian Dickson. Yeah,
It's Dickson.
Dixon.
I'm sorry.
Aaron doesn't even know our
The
guest.
research team, which is me. We don't have research.
All right, anyways.
So thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
By the way, we wanted to have you on originally.
Originally.
You've been a highly requested guest by many people.
We wanted to get
really.
you on.
You're an interesting guy, and a lot of people are just like I go around sometimes and ask people who they want
me a bit
to be on the
nervous,
podcast. Don't be nervous.
No, we don't need to be nervous.
It's just I don't know. Just be proud, I guess, in a way, because I when people come up to me and talk to me about the podcast, about how the episode went, for example, the Miss Stuyvesant's podcast episode, or Friends, I always ask, who do you want on next? And they're all just Adrian. Adrian's gonna be a pretty good guest.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've been wanting you on for a while.
And a quick shout out to Mr. Contreras for letting us use his room while our old room is being repaired.
It's definitely a better setup than the old room.
So, how you been?
I've been pretty good. I've, football just ended, as John would tell you. And
very sad.
We lost, but
in a playoff game.
It was fine because at the end of the day, the real win were the friends we made along the way.
Yes, positivity.
The JV team, they had a much better season, and
they had one loss, right?
Yeah, they had one loss.
How many games did they play?
A lot of forfeits. Again.
Were they intimidated to play the JV?
Yeah, they're just so scared of Chapin.
Chapin is JV's quarterback, by the way.
A lot of forfeits for them because they didn't have enough people, or they were failing or whatever. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Failing their classes.
These urban schools. But yeah, football ending is pretty sad. It's my senior year. Yeah. I joined sophomore year because Lucas Dingman asked me to join. We had math together, and he was like, "Hey, you're pretty big. You should join." And I was like, I don't really do that.
Yeah.
I used to play basketball in middle school. We actually went undefeated, but it was only because we had this one kid on our team who was really good.
Was Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan.
No, what did you play? Though?
I don't know the positions, man. I stood on the court and they'd throw it to me. John just spilled his tea.
That didn't happen.
The viewers, the listeners.
Our setup's a little janky right now.
Okay, but it's no problem.
We're using a bunch of books. Yeah,
we'll make do.
Okay.
So we know that you're besides football, very multifaceted guy. Some would say a Renaissance man. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
Besides,
wait. Let's go back to football for a second.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
you're on football. You shouldn't be asking me the questions about football.
That's true.
Yeah, but you're the guest.
Okay, but
You have to pretend
you have to be.
No, I want to know your story because okay, how do you feel about football ending? I guess why is it such a big thing? Because for me, it's all right. Okay. No. Okay. Okay. After the playoff game, everyone was like basically crying, right? Because like football is done.
Yeah.
And like everyone has their own reasons. Like on my end, it's more like, as a kid, I really wanted to become a football player, but like, it's done. Like I know I can't take it to the next level, so it's clearly like the end of the line for me. And like this is my senior year, and it's sad. And like I tore my meniscus this year, and it's kind of bittersweet. So yeah, that's why I would cry, but like that's why I did cry. But like yeah.
Well, I guess for me, it's more like football. I joined because I just wanted to be a part of something at Stuyvesant. And, there were cool people on the team that I'd become friends with. And once I joined, I felt like I just had so much more of a connection at the school. Even with all the other stuff I was involved with or, friends I had made, being on a sports team is kind of different. And you don't really know until you're on one, which is, there's just something about having to compete and, be so physically challenged with a lot of other people who have to do the same thing that kind of just puts you together. And so, yeah, I mean, the thing with that is that, even though football's over, we still have the connections and, that's not over. So, in a way, I guess the season's not finished.
Yeah, the season's never done.
For both you two, John, like through your experiences through football, what have you kind of like learned about yourself that you might have not discovered otherwise?
That's a pretty hard question, but like it's like I don't know. I learned to like push my limits, I guess, because like especially with this year, I injured myself. Like I injured my knee, and like it's a pretty bad injury, and I don't know, getting like back on the field was a completely new experience for me because it really is like physically intensive because you like after getting injured, you don't run or like you don't do any physical activity for like 2 months, and then right away you're like put back into it, and you have to get you have to adapt to it, and you're playing a sport where you're basically hitting other people like as fast as you can, and like you learn to like kind of push your limits in a way, and I don't know, it's an experience to say the least.
Yeah, I'd say like something similar to that is like it kind of gives you something you have to be really high commitment with. You have to show up to practice pretty much every day, and I missed a lot of practice.
I can kind of vouch for that.
For a lot of various reasons, but even then, like I still was at practice like almost every day of the week, and that is just something that I am not used to, having to do something every single day after school for like 2 hours, sometimes in the rain, sometimes in the snow, and eventually enjoying it, because at first I wasn't really like a fan of football. I mean, I never really liked professional sports. I still don't I just look at the memes because they're funny. Like when something bad happens to like a basketball player, like they like say something racist or something. So like barstool sports. Yeah. And I keep up with like things that happen in the sports world, and like I understand the sports and I appreciate the leagues and stuff. But yeah, growing up, sports were never really my thing. Football especially, and I thought the sport, my dad is really into football, so when he heard I was joining the team, he was pretty, happy. He came up to every game, and he made like chicken for the team a few times.
Very popular amongst the teammates.
And I forgot where I was going with this.
That's completely fine.
It's fine. I do that all the time.
But like with football, it's just something that you can't really go half-ass with. And, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone always asks, like, am I allowed to curse?
You have to start over.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
No.
with football, like, you can't do anything not at 100%. And once you get into that, and once you realize you can do that, and it's not something that is impossible for you, it just kind of happens. By senior year, pretty much everyone is at least decent, I think.
Yeah.
Like even
You have to be at least decent.
Yeah, like by senior year, everyone at least is working at their potential, and that's something that you see every year. People change. Football changes the way they think. It changes the way they act, and I feel like it probably did the same for me. I definitely a different person than I was at the beginning of Sty. Definitely, at least more committed to the things I do, and I feel like a big part of that was football.
How do you guys feel about people walking away from football because of like the old CTE situation and all of that? Like the whole Will Smith movie and everything.
Oh,
I mean, do
Like,
you
I think that's entirely valid.
Yeah, I don't really blame them. I mean, like you might get clowned by the team every once in a while, but like, and all honestly, like everyone kind of understands because it's like a risk you got to be willing to take, I guess, when you play, and like
and
that's also part of it. Yeah,
and I think at the end of the day, there is kind of a difference between high school football and even college or NFL level football because even as big as we are. And as big as the people were playing, because they're like huge, they're still not like big.
Yeah.
And the injuries we get, they can be pretty bad, but like even the concussions, are usually pretty minor and stuff like that. So I think as you go up, the risk, and this is kind of true for all sports, but as you go up, the risk associated with it becomes higher and higher. But also so does I guess the gain, because you might like tear your ACL, but you're also making millions of dollars in the NFL. And, people end up really, really messed up from a lot of these sports. And, I can't say that I don't understand, it's like how much are you willing to put on the line for a game, for entertainment, for something that, at the end of the day isn't necessary. And I guess it's person to person. I'm not going to make fun of anyone for not wanting to play a sport because they think they're going to get hurt. Like if I think I might get hurt from something and it's not something that I really, really want to do, why would I do it?
Yeah. Like there was this football player like a couple years ago. He played for the 49ers. And like it was his first season, his rookie season. And, like, he was really good. But, like, by the end of the season, he decided to retire because he was scared of, like, brain damage. Which I don't think anyone in the league kind of blamed him for it either. Like, it's entirely understandable. And, like, I don't know. It's part of the entire mental aspect of the game as well. Like, mentally, like, our coaches always tell us, you have to be ready to hit someone. You have to, no matter what technique you use, like, even if you do everything right, you still mentally have to want to, like, play hard. And, like, if you don't want to do that, then you're not going to do it right. And, like, in a way, you have to be mentally prepared to, like, possibly get hurt. And that's the whole part of the game. And it sounds so messed up in the end, too.
Coach says this all the time. Football is a violent sport.
Yeah.
Coach Ed, after every game, he gives us like a speech.
He gives us a speech every game.
And it's always like, you can't give them hope. Like the other team, like halftime, will be like there, and he's like, listen, we may be up, but they still think they can win. They're not going to win. You have to break their spirits. You have to crush them, kill their children. And it's like,
it's funny.
That's
it's
part
really
of the
funny.
sport. It's a sport that is not one where you can really afford to not be ready to get hurt. I think everyone on the team has been injured in some way at some point, and like I think more than not, like those injuries are like in some way permanent. Like not to the point where we're in a wheelchair, but like my arm still is a little cracks a little weird from this one hit I got.
Yeah,
and ACLs don't heal, so yeah.
Look at Derrick Rose. He's doing all right.
No, he's not.
He's really not.
Like, I bet you his knee hurts every single day.
Like, that's just the game. If you want to do it, you can do it. I'm not going to say anyone's dumb for not doing it. I'm not going to say anyone's dumb for doing it.
Yeah, and I think that the risk you guys take as football players is very high, but I guess you guys can attest to this. The reward of having like a good win, the feeling you guys have as a team. I don't know how, like, I personally don't know how it is, but like, you know, is there like a sense of euphoria when you like come out of like a battle with like another team?
Yeah.
You can take this one,
Yeah,
Adrian.
I mean, I guess it's like, you know, last year we did really well. Our season, you know, in the same division as this year, but last year we, what was it, like 9-2?
I think you lost 2. Yeah, we lost 2.
Lost 2 games, and both against Petrides, by the way. Yeah,
That sucked.
yeah, and this year Petrides, like, was one of our losses.
You can always like get left back and play him on the 50.
I don't think we ever beat Petrides.
No, I don't think it's ever happened.
I know we beat
like
JV. Our
JV has
beat
been.
Petrides.
Like varsity has never beat.
And then
Petrides.
somehow we lost, and I think we beat teams that beat Petrides. Did that happen?
Yeah, that definitely does happen. Because
Yeah,
like, football is like an unpredictable sport.
Yeah, but when you get a win, it's kind of like it is happy and stuff, but I feel like it isn't like movie happy. It's more like affirming, you know. It's like the work I did, you know. I went to work and, you know, it's there.
It's kind of what you expect.
Yeah, like you should expect to win. It's
Yeah.
like everything went right that I wanted to go right. It's not like, oh, at the end I went Super Saiyan and I pulled out, you know, this last trump card and we made it. That, like, most games aren't like that, you know. Most games aren't even like that photo finish movie moment. And, you know, it's more just like it's part strategic, part effort, and it comes together. And when it's like when you get a win, it's like I did this and we all did this, and like next week let's do it again. So, you know, and then when you get a loss, it really depends on the loss, I guess. If it's a loss where it's like we just weren't doing our things right, then it's pretty upsetting. If it's a loss where we're just like, you know, it's a better, their team is just better, which I mean is rare. And honestly, in high school football, like it's a toss up. It's really a toss up. If your team is decent and not just like absolute garbage, like,
and you know,
can
like your coaches know what they're doing,
and you can like theoretically beat anyone. And like you see upsets like that all the time. Teams that are just so much smaller, you know, just demolishing teams that are bigger than them just because they know how to play. And so like everyone kind of has a chance in like so when you have that, and you know, when you lose, you kind of it's really all about why that's happening. If you lose for a reason that was preventable and you know that it can be made to be your fault, then it sucks. If it's not your fault, then it sucks too because you feel helpless. But if it's just like a solid like loss, like, you know, you made a few mistakes, they're as strong as you, we lost, then, you know, it's just like, next time. And yeah, I guess that's, you know, football is, again, a very, very 100% sport. You got to put in everything, and if you don't, then there's no way you're gonna win. And if you do, you're still not necessarily gonna win. And you know, it's still really fun.
Yeah. I mean, would you ever play in college?
I mean, if I could play in college, I might, but I probably can't.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that a lot of, you know, just student athletes can relate to. You know, their sport is something that they love so much, but they know like it's just really a different world in college and then professional, and you know, they want to make the best that they can in high school because they're not completely sure that they'll be able to play in college. And again, it depends on the school you go to, because like some schools there's no way you're going to play there because their football team is like just either non-existent or like, you know, top of the league. You're not even going to get considered.
Like some of these like high schools that I'm like some of these high schools like IMG Academy and stuff like that. Like they pour like millions into their locker rooms and stuff.
IMG's intense. Like they're into it. Yeah,
it is.
They're all in.
Yeah. So in college, like I might, but I don't know. And I'm fine with that right now because it's not like I'm just banned from playing football.
Yeah.
Like if I really, really want to figure out a way to play football again,
You probably
I can.
Yeah.
Like they're like just neighborhood leagues and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and just play a game with my friends. But yeah,
Okay, we've been talking about football for a while.
yeah, this is like
Yeah. I mean, like, okay, so like you also do like STC, right? You're also in STC.
I
Yeah.
do that occasionally.
So, I mean,
How
like,
did you get started in that? Like,
yeah.
Like when was your first production at Stuyvesant?
First production in Stuyvesant was what's it called again? The Drowsy Chaperone, freshman year, with like Hero. Hero is in that one. You should ask him about it. It's a great show. The thing is, I've been doing like theater for a while and just stage performance from a pretty young age. So like it was kind of a given that I would do it here.
Yeah.
And I do sing too, of course. I directed last year. It's just really fun way to, I guess, do things in front of people. You kind of get over fear that you might have while also being able to, express yourself, even if it's not your work that you're portraying. And
Sorry to interrupt, but you went on. You said that you directed Sing, and that seems like a pretty big, task to take. How was it being like a director of like a big production like that?
Well, I was a cast director, and there are a lot of different directors for, so I worked with the cast, and I, casted them. I did that with Emily Rubenstein and Adam Cohen. We were the three directors, and it was fun. It was like, because I already kind of know my way around the actual stuff. The biggest challenge, I guess, was working within the confines of Sing, because it's very different from a normal production. With Sing, you have to, work in a certain way, and you have to do things a certain way. You have to, direct a certain way. You have to work with a lot of people who aren't doing the same thing you're doing and coordinate with them.
Like what? Like,
It's also a original.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, and of course,
revision after revision.
it's an original, so there's tons of revisions going on. You might teach someone something, and then it changes the next week. That actually happened sophomore year when I was in chorus. Big deal. Our song got changed for our opening song because the seniors took the song, and we worked for so long on getting these ridiculously complicated harmonies down, and then we're like, oh, we're just changing the song. They took another day of sun.
Did they rip it off you guys?
Because seniors get priority for songs that they want to pick. So they were just like, actually, no, we want that song. And
how
I'm
does
like,
it
okay.
work? Like, there's like a list, and like you just vote.
I don't even know exactly how it works, but all I know is that it goes down in terms of priority. Seniors, juniors. Honestly, seniors just get a ton of, I guess, perks. It's kind of expected that they're gonna win every year. So
I mean, yeah, it's a joke every year.
And the thing is,
there was light and sound drama about senior priorities. I'm not gonna talk about it. It's not interesting. It's like they wanted to use.
no, tell it, man.
Yeah. All right.
yeah, tell it.
They wanted to
Spill the tea.
they wanted to use one type of pattern for the lighting, but then, the Safrash had it, and then the seniors were like, "No, that's ours." And then I was just kind of in the middle of the crossfire. I was just
It seems like a very Sty problem.
like, "Yeah,
I want that light. No, I want it.
no, it's funny.
Yeah.
You have to be there, man."
Alan's just in the middle, so stressed out.
Did you do acting in middle school or elementary school?
Yeah, I think I said that.
Yeah, he
But-
did.
I did. I did a lot of it. Every year in middle school there was a show that, and then in elementary school there were a few things here and there. A lot of mock trials and just stuff like that. I always enjoyed just performances and stuff, even though a lot of times I did come off as a bit shy when I was younger because it was just kind of around, kids and stuff. I was, pretty outgoing, but adults I wasn't necessarily unless I was really comfortable with them. And, you know, it almost gave you a chance to like show off, kind of at least show that you had something within you that you could put on display. So I did, I did a show every year in middle school, and then there was also a production company that I worked for with my friend, and then we actually ended up working in a student-run production company that he founded called Znefrock Productions. We ended up making a musical, writing a Star Wars musical in middle school, and we put it on for like a charity thing. And right now, actually, it's going to be performed at Below 54 with like actual actors, like Broadway actors.
Damn.
Wait, this is Andrew, right?
Andrew, yeah.
Yeah, I know about him. He's the lead in Evan Hansen,
Evan
right?
Hansen, yeah.
That's crazy.
It's pretty crazy seeing him just because, like...
That's the Broadway show, right?
Yeah, we used to be, like, you know, we used to go to school together, obviously, really close friends. And it's like, I see him, like, in, like, you know, ads and stuff or, like, news articles. And it's like, holy, you know, that's the guy that I wrote that stupid musical with. And then it's like, oh God, that musical's being performed now. And it's been fun. I really like theater, and I really like just the stage in general. It's something I think that more people should get into, even if they don't think they'll do good. You know, I've casted before, and I've of course auditioned a few times. And, you know, the one thing you know is that you never really know what you're good at until you really try it. And there are tons of people who are like, I can't sing. And it's like, have you ever sung? Like, sing something right now. And they're like, no. And I was like, how do you know you can't sing then? Like, sing.
I mean, sing in the shower.
I mean, maybe.
I think most people know if they're bad or good at singing. Right?
Trust me. Like, there are people that just had no idea the talent that they have until they end up actually like auditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and again, there's vocal ranges. There's, you know, not everyone can play the right character. And it's not even just singing, of course. Just acting, you know, instruments, anything that, you know, all, you know, entertainment, I guess.
What do you think is like the toughest part
Toughest.
of like being an actor or an actor in like a production like that? Would you say it's like getting the singing down, or is it more of the...
I would imagine like memorizing the lines, right?
Yeah, that's what I would consider.
It used to be for me memorizing lines when I was younger, but I guess it kind of gets easier the more you get used to it. Memorization is pretty simple because you just gotta kind of think of the scene itself. Think about the reasons characters are saying the things they're saying, the motivations. You can't just think of it like, okay, after she says this keyword, then I say this. Because then if they mess up that keyword, or if they say something a little bit similar but it's just a little bit off, like, I'm going to the store, and they say, I'm headed to the store, and then you're just freezing on stage like, oh shit, what's my next line? You got to kind of think about the scene.
You have to understand the character, right? Yeah.
And once you do that, and once you just read the script over and over and over again, the lines just kind of snap into place like that. But if now that's not really a big deal, memorization.
Mm-hmm.
I think the hardest part is, well, for one, like not forgetting to come to practice, but also like, I guess, finding out what works, finding out what, you know, sounds good or looks good on stage, and sticking with that and remembering that. And, you know, it can be, some performances are more natural than others. Some performances have more leeway than others. You know, certain roles you can play are like, you can just pretty much do whatever you want. And then certain roles you have to be very, very specific in one way. And if you mess it up, then it just doesn't look right. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges you face when you're on stage is, you know, realizing that you may feel a certain way on the stage, but that's not how it looks to the audience.
Yeah.
And balancing those two things is, you know, it's a big part of it.
So it's like a learning experience, right? It's a trial and error type thing.
Yeah. Like, I hate watching videos of me on stage because like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's not what I thought that was gonna look like at all.
It's
I hate
like,
hearing myself
yeah,
on
it's
the
like
mic.
hearing this podcast. Yeah, I hate listening to it.
It's interesting though, like, cause like you're both into like football and acting, right? And like, both of them, it's like,
Oh, yeah.
like, yeah. No, I'm not going down on another football tangent, but I'm saying like, it's like both of them. Only a few people can really succeed amongst a lot, right? And it's like, so it's like, what is acting like? Are there any skills from acting that you can use just going forward in life, even if you don't act?
Well, I mean, of course, you know, diction, memorization, commitment. I guess working with people and, you know, being able to stick with that. And, you know, not being afraid. I guess not. Stage fright is something that is pretty common in a lot of people. And I've seen people come into a show and then just pop out of their shells by the end. And, what was that?
I don't know. Someone's at the door.
Strange noises.
Alan, you gotta cut that.
I didn't pick up anything.
No, but I understand the stage fright thing, though. It's like, I mean, when we first recorded our first episode for this podcast, like, no one is even watching us. It's just us and the guest. But, like, I was pretty nervous on the first run. And it was Mr. Ferenc, who was, like, a teacher I knew pretty well anyways. Still, it was, like, a kind of a nerve-wracking experience because it was completely new to me. And, I don't know, I knew that at least 3 people would be listening, so, you know.
Do you find it easy that when you break out in song on the football field, do you find it easy here to play football? You break out in song.
What?
What?
Do what?
I'm
what
so
did you-
confused.
What did you mean? Like he breaks out in song on the field?
Yeah, like from musical theater. Do you find it easier to play football when you break out in song on the field?
Have you broken out in song on the field?
I mean, like at practice. I
At
think,
practice,
yeah.
he does a lot, but I don't remember it on the field. On
I
the
don't. I
field,
think
it's
I would
always
be
like,
ejected for that. Like,
I think
that's
that's-
yeah.
That's like a 15 yard.
Do you see,
Yeah.
do you see yourself in Troy Bolton?
Do I see? What,
Have you
I
said
always
that
thought
I mean,
before,
you see
Adrian?
Troy Bolton and you.
Troy Bolton was the. No,
Is
I
it
don't. I
Kit,
think Troy.
main
Well, how does it
character
work?
Of High School
I think
Musical.
Troy was a very problematic character.
You want to go into why?
Funny enough, I saw Zac Efron
I will not elaborate
right
on
in front
that
of Sty.
further.
Well, not right in front, near the Tribeca Film Festival.
Oh
It's
my
not right in
god!
front of Psy.
But it's very close.
I don't know how many
The-
times you've told me this.
Well, I just wanted
I
to say
saw
it
J.
again.
Cole.
Oh, I've heard of that. He was
Yeah.
like with his kid.
Wait, let me tell you this.
Wait,
I
was this during rollerblading?
Yeah, rollerblading.
Yeah.
I was in rollerblading, Mr. Chubaralian, and we're outside, and J. Cole is just there, and he's like with his son or something, and he has like a little stroller. I didn't even know he had a son, and he was outside like at Battery Park, and he had his son, and this kid was yelling, and he was like it's J. Cole. I love KOD. It's J. Cole. And then I like was skating like right behind him, and I got in front of him. I like passed him, and I looked back, and I was like, "Hey!" And he like gave me this weird look, and he was like, I think he nodded at me because he was like J. Cole, and then I
J. Cole in Jamaica too. This dude's like everywhere in the city.
it was just he's like
oh
an-
yeah, J. Cole was in some place in Queens.
He's just an
and like he was
entity.
playing basketball with his kids or something. Does he have a kid?
he's like a non-corporeal entity. He's just everywhere at once.
Yeah, J.
He
Cole's
appears
my
and
roommate.
disappears.
No.
Nah, we saw this designer on the train once, right? Cheyenne still hates me for this.
Wait, designer or a designer?
A designer, not designer.
Not Panda.
Not the panda dude.
Now, we found John Elliott on a train once, who's this fashion designer and then we were just talking about it, and then John goes, John Elliott, and he just starts.
I didn't know who John Elliott was, right? They were just talking about John
This
Elliott.
dude just looks at us, super creeped out, and leaves the next stop.
How do you guys? Who like recognizes designers?
I didn't know who he was. I was
probably
just like
couldn't
messing with
recognize
him.
Gucci. Wait, is that like a man or something?
yeah, I don't know who Gucci is.
Is
though.
Gucci like alive?
Is Gucci alive?
Low key, I don't even. The only reason I know who.
I definitely cannot recognize Coco or Chanel.
mics will never pick up. Which is
What were we talking about?
I actually had a question I wanted to ask.
Sure.
Alan. I wanted to ask Alan. You know, I've always been inspired by you and your work at Sty, and I just wanted to ask, where do you get your ideas from?
Alan's like, what ideas?
That's a two-part.
Where do you get your ideas from?
That's a two-part question with a two-part answer. No, it's not, but I just wanted to say that. What exactly? What ideas?
I just want to know where you get your ideas from.
Well,
My head,
So
the vibes.
a large part of it is believing that you work for your own hypothetical audio media production company, named Audio Media Production Service.
What a plug.
AMPS. My employees are, in fact, Shayan Nomani and Aryan Islam. Anyways, so that aside, so it's you pretend you work for, you do these gigs rather than, like, instead of framing it as you are doing movie night for the senior caucus or whatever, you think of it as like you have a gig, right? Or like you have an event to accomplish, or I don't know. And then I have these like production logs, and then I gather all the equipment and set up and tear down. I like making lists and schedules. Not lists that objectify people though. That's
We're not going to get into that.
really?
You want to get into that? Should we?
I mean, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's a
You
problem.
want to get into that? Like how?
No,
Like, talk about it?
Yeah, we're gonna discuss it.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's I think it is a problem.
Yeah,
You
I think
think
it's a problem. I'm not on the list. No, I'm joking.
All right, I'm gonna say this. I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, I don't think
Because,
it's that bad.
Well, for one, it's kind of normal. Like, it's like it's not like some crazy like bullying thing. Like if this is
So
the thing with that is like, I don't think it's wrong. I think the only problem is like people are like, oh, I'm not on the list. But even then, it's like, okay, there are 3,000 kids at this school. Are you really gonna feel bad about yourself that you're not on the top 10 hottest list voted by like a bunch of random people?
And
put
it's
the
in
senior age
the
rate?
bathroom.
There's probably
Yeah,
like
like-
20
No,
kids
no.
too.
Well, I don't know. I think it resurfaced again. I think it like another list went up yesterday or something.
Yeah, they just do that. It's
Yeah.
It's like a running joke now, honestly.
I think
'cause
it's just to
always like
fuck
the
around,
same
to be
few
honest,
people,
yeah.
and it's like,
Yeah. I mean, I on one hand, I get it. It's like a goof. It's a gag. Some might call it a goof and gag.
I actually call it a goof, a gaff, and a goggle.
That was really just
that's kind of cringe, bro.
If Alan's gonna take it there, I'm gonna take it a
But-
step further.
But like,
Jesus Christ.
I think
Can
the
we please cut that out?
I think the argument that a lot of people who are against it hold is that, and you could see into this or not, I don't know, but like they don't like the fact that they're being, I guess, boiled down to like appearances, right, on the list, or like in other words, being like objectified. And this goes for boys and girls.
I could understand that from people who are on the list,
Right.
because like I don't think I personally have heard that from anybody who appeared on the list. They were like, why am I on this or whatever.
Right.
I think because a lot of them are just like, yay,
I'm on the
people
list.
think I'm hot.
Well,
But like,
yeah, I will say that I was talking to someone who was on the list that I will not identify.
yeah, don't.
Yeah, that was,
Better off you don't.
and this person was, as a matter of fact, I guess weirded out isn't the right word, and obviously I don't explain their feelings verbatim. Just this general sense of discomfort and because of the fact that they are being targeted by how they look, right? And like, and it's true. Like some, the other argument what I heard is like they don't have any reason to be complaining because you're being called attractive, right? But also, I don't know, you can't help the way you look, right? You don't decide that.
I mean, plastic surgery is always an
Plastic
option.
surgery is always an
It's a
option.
joke. It's a joke. All right. It's a bad joke.
No, I was agreeing. Yeah, well, now I'm just going on a tangent.
Well, I can understand that, and I do think that is, it's valid to feel that way. If you don't want to appear on the list, I would, I personally like. I don't really know how I would feel if I were like a girl and a bunch of guys were like, "Oh, she's so cute, bro. Put her on the list, bro." Like, it's like I could definitely see that being creepy. I just think like in the way it is now, it's like I don't know. And again, this is like
Well, also especially for girls, they get catcalled, right?
actually looking at it a bit different now. Though I will say that I'm pretty sure most of these lists are made by girls.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not gonna say why I know that,
But he knows that.
yeah. I don't know. I think this last one was made by boys, but like a lot of them were made by girls.
I think that we should make lists of the best sounding microphones. Only.
Okay, bud. We let him talk for too long.
Number 1 would be SM57. Number 2.
No.
would be the A.
Sean,
Number
take the
3 would
take the
be
mic back from Alan.
B. Number 4 would be. Number 4 would
Okay.
be Rode
Do we know who made that list, by the way?
Procaster.
Let's
Let's not
Okay,
name anyone.
I'm not
don't-
not to name, but I don't know. Was it like some stupid
I know who
freshman?
made some.
Number
No,
5
no, it
would
was
be
definitely
Electro
senior.
Voice.
I know who made
RD20.
one of the lists because it was me and someone else.
Number 6 would be
Well, like okay, so we didn't.
Rode
So like
C6. Is that a yeah? Number 7 would be Shure Beta 86.
Are we gonna let him go?
Yes. Just
Number 8. Wait,
number
the-
15.
Number 8 would be the Audix.
Burger King
It's like this drum
Footless.
mic. I don't remember the name, but it was a pretty handy mic. Number 9 would be the Neumann U87, and number 10
Jesus Christ,
would be the
Alan.
the Audio Technica C4.
How long is this list?
10. It was just 10.
You-
Now
I-
we gotta
I
talk
feel
about
like-
mixers. No, I'm just kidding.
No, okay.
What are we talking about? It was the
This tea has brown rice.
the list, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, before the list, it was like how I get my. Well, like, what ideas are you talking about specifically?
Are we still on that?
Well, I was just interested in the question. I love the spotlight. I'm just kidding.
No, he does. He really does.
I don't know. I just wanted to know because like some people think about these good ideas. I just wanted to know like where you get your ideas from.
That was much more specific.
You mean, like,
Ideas?
like what? Like
Like the
shrimp
things
con-
you think about and things that you are able to come up with. They're just so clever and
Thank you.
How does your mind work?
Oh, that's a toughie.
Does it work like a machine, or
Like,
does it
do you-
work
do
like?
you, do you plan stuff out, or do you like?
Of course, I
do
plan stuff
like,
out. I'm an
no,
event-
like I don't.
Are you a
plan stuff
magician?
out. Like it's weird.
Well, this is.
What are you doing?
one more thing on the list thing because I was just remembering now.
What's going on, bro? Yeah.
If anyone's still listening to this, one, thank you, and if it's probably like 5 people, so I think we could just talk about anything right now.
No, all right, well, Adrian, what were you gonna say?
One more thing on the list thing is like I'm starting to remember now. I remember at the end of like the day and one day someone was like upset about it and I didn't, and I was like it's not that big of a deal, and I'm not sure if they're the one who took it down, but like I kind of understand now like why, I guess, like thinking back on it, but like they said like basically it's like it's vain or whatever, and it's like, and I was like yeah, I mean it is, but it's also like kind of just that's how teenagers are, it's like they do this stuff already like just in like
Their head.
not even in their head, but just like amongst each other. And this is just kind of like they just put it on the wall because
Taking it to an unnecessary.
I mean, this is
Next
stuff like you
level.
kind of expect from like a normal high school, though.
No, a normal
Like-
high school is where you expect like weird types of bullying. Like, give me your lunch money, or like,
Alan. That's like a movie. Like that's
Yeah, I don't think that accurately represents
putting
school.
someone in a locker, dude. Like, who,
they were doing that today.
How
come
do you
on.
fit anyone into a locker and stop?
There's maybe 2 kids inside that could fit in a locker.
Yeah, me and you.
Oh,
Oh wow,
let's not take it there.
that got intimate.
Yeah.
Did anyone just hear those
The
screaming children?
yeah, I don't know.
Schizophrenia.
I mean, we're in the principal's office right now.
Oh, yo, I have a.
I don't know
Yeah,
who's
the
outside.
principal's office, the hall of screaming children.
I mean, no, right outside. Like some team is practicing or something. Is it like? I don't know what it is.
I think it's a dance.
It's Sty Squad
It's
rehearsal.
Sty Squad. Yeah.
Somebody tell them to pipe down. That's all for today for the Stuyvesant podcast. Tune in next week. Tune in next week for the new episode of Stuyvesant podcast. Find out next time. That's an awfully hot coffee pot. Should I drop it on Donald Trump? Probably not. But that's all I got till I come up with a solid plot. Got a plan and now I got a hatchet like a damn Apache with a tomahawk. I'ma walk inside a mosque on Ramadan and say a prayer every time that talks. She gets him. I'ma stop.